Welcome to part 4 of the UO Infantry Basics series. In this video, we will focus on the basic techniques used for spotting and engaging the enemy, which include spotting technique, establishing security, weapon status, rates of fire, and suppression. We just learned how to give a contact report using the 3 Ds, direction, distance, and description, in Video 2, Communications. However, in order to give a contact report, we must first see the enemy. Observing or spotting well can make all the difference during an operation, and there are a few techniques which can really help you out. First, look for signs of the enemy, starting with the areas closest to you, looking back and forth as you move your gaze further and further away. Signs of the enemy could be as obvious as a campfire or dug fighting position, or as minute as spent shell casings. Discarded equipment, such as used rocket launcher tubes and even dead bodies, can give an indication as to where the enemy may still be located. Then, after checking for any signs of the enemy, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine where you would take a position if you were the enemy, and check those locations carefully. Through these methods, you should find yourself becoming better at finding the enemy, especially when combined with experience gained through playing. As a side note, don't forget that you can zoom in your view by holding down the right mouse button. This allows you to quickly check a location in greater detail than just your standard view. Just as to give a contact report, we need to see the enemy. We also must ensure that all directions are watched in order to spot the enemy, as they may attack from any direction. A common mistake for new players is getting sucked into whatever is going on directly in front of them, only looking straight ahead and not watching other directions. This turns into a major problem and gets them killed quite often, as enemy units are freely able to move along their unwatched flanks, setting up firing positions unharassed, and then engaging and destroying their unsuspecting unit. The solution to this problem is commonly referred to as establishing security. When a unit establishes security, all members watch different directions, forming 360 degrees of observation. This keeps a unit from being leapt upon by the enemy from an unprepared direction, and is a crucial element of survival. As a member of a fire team, it is your responsibility to protect your team by watching different directions from the rest of your teammates. Watching different directions is universally applicable. Even when you are on the move, it is beneficial just to scan unwatched directions with free look, whose default button is the left alt key. When watching different directions, coordinate with teammates to ensure that all directions are watched at all times.
Josh has got east.
Boss has got north.
When in game, your squad and team leaders will often be changing the weapon status of your team.
Team, weapons green, walking pace, weapons up. Let's move.
The weapon status is intended to guide you on what to do once an enemy is spotted. Regardless of the weapon status, alert your teammates to the presence of enemy with a contact report first before firing. That way, even if you're killed, they'll still know where the enemies are. Weapon status break down into 3 types. The first is green or free, meaning you can engage any enemy forces that you see. The second is yellow or tight, where you only shoot if returning fire, or on an enemy unit that presents an immediate and serious danger to you or a teammate.
Team, weapons yellow, fire on my lead.
The third is red or hold fire, where you do not shoot unless you or a teammate will almost certainly be killed or seriously injured by an enemy unit.
How can I be of assistance? Weapons red, breaking contact with me, we're out.
It is important to follow these weapon statuses, as they are often used by leadership to maintain some degree of stealth, or gain another advantage over the enemy. Breaking these in certain situations could seriously hinder the overall mission plan. Throughout the course of a firefight, a team leader may find it necessary to regulate the rate at which your team is shooting at.
Team, slow rate, slow rate.
Often, this will help your team retain ammo for later use. And finding the right balance is key as a team member. There are 3 rates of fire that you should be prepared to use. These rates using a rifle are rapid, where you place a shot every second, normal, where you take a shot every 2 to 3 seconds, and slow, where you take a shot every 6 to 10 seconds. Take in mind that when shooting at slow rate, it's useful to make note of where your crosshairs lie on the target when you shoot. After you shoot, track the round through the air and note where it impacts relative to the target, and then adjust as necessary so that your follow-up shots are right on. Throughout any mission, you'll be called to lay down suppressing fire. But what exactly is suppressing fire? Suppressing fire is when the unit shoots enough rounds in the vicinity of an enemy unit that the enemy unit is convinced they will be wounded or killed should they try to do anything but hug the ground and hide behind the cover. This is a purely psychological tactic, as you're essentially intimidating your foe into doing nothing at all. When you're called to suppress a target, put out a steady rate of fire using a rapid or normal rate as dictated by your team leader. Whenever the situation permits, be smart about the areas that you choose to put your fire on. Direct your fire towards places where the enemy may try to shoot back from, such as the edge of a rock or building, as well as doors or windows. As you can see in this first clip, our shooter is not directing any of his fire, and the majority of shots are bouncing off the front wall of the bunker instead of landing near the firing ports. In this second clip, our shooter is putting rounds down range towards likely enemy firing positions, such as the firing ports in the bunker, and you can see just how much more effective his suppressive fire now is. Remember that you may be called to suppress for extended periods of time, and it's important that you maintain fire, as slacking off may give the enemy an opportunity to shoot back at you or your teammates. Key takeaways for this video should be the following. Watch different directions. Watch other directions from your teammates. While assigning directions is the responsibility of your team leader, this may not always happen, and you need to be proactive in ensuring the safety of your team.
Also go north.
Weapon statuses. The 3 weapon statuses, green, yellow, and red, guide how free you are to shoot at enemies. Remember that green means you're free to engage any enemy unit. Yellow means you're only to return fire or fire upon an enemy that is an immediate and present threat to you or your teammates. Finally, red means you only shoot if you or a teammate is in immediate danger. Rates of fire. Rapid, normal, and slow are the 3 rates of fire that leaders use. Rapid is a shot every second with rifle. Normal is a shot every 2 to 3 seconds. And slow is a shot every 6 to 10 seconds. Shot placement. When suppressing, direct your fire towards likely enemy firing positions, and maintain fire unless otherwise indicated to do so.